Alrighty. I've got my hazy big thing. And I'd like to talk about Timmy Ping Pong, also known as Marty Supreme. I am some months late getting to this one. I saw it in theaters when it came out. It was cool. It was fine. It was dandy. Just watched it again because they put it on HBO Max. And I've kind of been working on a new theory that I think this kind of fits into, which I will lovingly call the Timmy Ping Pong Problem, which we will get into towards the end of this video. But to start, what I really wanted to do is maybe give it some praise. I'd like to start with the good stuff, I suppose. So, with that in mind, first we have
magic and mood.
And that's like sort of just the atmosphere and the magic of this, and like the mood. It's a period piece. It works well. That's something that's very cool to me. I would say Marty really does have a magnetism about him, and that's like kudos to the Timmy performance. And just kind of how he plays this weird, like this dude's kind of like a live wire, and it works well in a lot of instances. He really does have this like magnetism about him, where it's like he's a genuinely like magic person in these moments where he needs to be. When he's like scraping and scrambling, it's this kind of when he pulls out, when he's on stage with Kay or whatever her name is, and then like does the knife flip thing to like show the guy how to stab, not like a child or whatever. There's moments where he needs to rise to the occasion, and then he totally does it, which kind of lends to this like, he's got 10 charisma on his like special stats, genuinely, which is cool till he starts being evil, but that these things work. The mood is great of parts of this. There's like faltering in the mood, which is where I have problems, but when the mood is good, it's great. I like the period piece 50s New York City vibe. That's not something I've lived through. I don't live in New York. I've been there like twice. I don't really get it. But like it's cool seeing the hubbub of everything, and just kind of like, the produce carts and the shoe shop where, like, to me, the shoe shop looked like fucking Ollivander's, like, wand spot from Harry Potter with the shoes stacked to the ceiling. And that's, like, kudos to production designer, costume, set, everything are really, really good. It's the Jack Fisk something, fucking that up. Don't quote me on that. But I know he did, like, There'll Be Blood. And so he does a really good job of, like, not overdoing it. It just feels like you're really there, which is probably, like, when the set design is, like, almost hidden, almost you don't comment on it, is probably when it's at its best, right? And just to throw a little more praise in there, like the music, cinematography, costumes, all this are, to me, just 10 out of 10 here. Love the music in this. I don't know if it's the same guy that did Uncut Gems, but it's got the same feel to it, where I love just like beep boop synths. It almost kind of does this like Minecraft music thing where they don't really put too many words in there, and they don't do too many needle drops where what's going, like the song. So it really is just kind of putting notes together to kind of inspire a feeling within you, which is maybe what the best movies do at the same time. So insofar as that, like the parallel with the cool 80s synths put to a retro 50s movie, we're doing like a double set piece thing, not like set piece, or like a double period piece almost, where it's like the music is of the 80s. The movie set is in the 50s, and it came out in the 2020s, it's just a cool little mixture of things. It's just a cool idea, and I like to see that on the big screen. Goddamn fucking Java. Okay, so when this magic and mood, like I said, is good, it's great, but the one thing that kind of, there are parts of it that we kind of see some light poking through, like some holes in it, some water starts falling out, is there are times where Timmy is doing his thing and he doesn't feel so 50s. Like, it feels like everyone else in the scene is dressed in their best, like Jetsons 50s type fit. Not Jetsons, you know what I'm saying, though. It's very of the time. Timmy's fit is of the time, and then he says, like, some Timmy Chalamet shit like you would see him doing the press run. And to me, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's Timothy Chalamet. And that's not like, it's not like the performance is bad. It's just we're in this age now where the actor is everywhere. Like when they do it in Timmy style, where his face is so recognizable. And I feel like this movie, he's kind of just playing like himself to the nth degree, which gets into some iffy. But for the most part, the mood that they kind of conjure up with all of these things coming together are great. The costumes are awesome. Inside the shoe store is awesome. The used car lot at the end is really good. I love all the set designs at the ping pong spot, like when they go to Japan, all the old banners. There's great work there. I'll clap that up all day. I don't know if they won the Oscar for that, but they should have. I like it. I really do. So the big thing, really, when we dive a little bit deeper into the mood of it and like where Timmy kind of takes this, is I would say this balance of
charmer/stinker.
I just call bad stuff stinkers, and then the rest of this is Timmy kind of being a charmer. So what would I say? I wrote dialogue has great rhythm to it, and that's something that we've kind of seen. I mean, I've only seen Good Time and Uncut Gems, so I can't say for everything. Like, I know they did Daddy Long Legs and something about like the pleasure of stealing or being robbed or something. I haven't seen their older stuff, but I would imagine this is kind of something that just is very all over their DNA with their movie stuff, where it's like a lot of people are talking at once, but sometimes it feels stressful. Other times it just feels like there's this like, it's a cacophony of voices, but it works well. It feels like real life. It feels like things are just moving at sort of a breakneck pace, and I think that's good. I think there's some very, very funny stuff in this. There's some real charming stuff from Mr. Timmy Man, where I was just smiling ear to ear as if I were Gwyneth Paltrow. The whole time he's pursuing her at that hotel when he's riding the high of like, I'm the man. I think that's like outstanding. I think maybe that's when this is at its best. And I'm thinking of like the phone call, and he's like, sounds boring, and you smile, like, there's something, he's so brash and he's so in your face, and there's like, for lack of a better words, there's this like very boyish charm about what he's doing. There's this like sort of Steve Jobs, like, I'm smarter than everybody, like hunger about him as he's going into these things. That's admirable at points, and it's also really, really annoying at other points, but he kind of plays that double-edged sword very well. The problem is just like there are some dead stops in the writing, where I feel like there are some really, 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 really poorly written lines that are kind of thrown in there, and it's super weird to go from something that feels so magnetic on 10 to then going to something that feels like really stupid, like film student kind of movie. I'm thinking like a lot of the Nazis and like Dead Son references, like every time they talk about the war pretty much, except passingly as like subtext kind of thing of like, oh, the war just happened, or oh, like the travel ban, like that stuff's fine. But when the guy starts telling the Nazi stories, and when Timmy's like, I'm the Nazi's worst nightmare, like I'm Hitler's worst nightmare, I'll do him worse than Auschwitz, it was like way overkeyed, and it wasn't really played like he was overstepping his boundaries. It was played like, oh, he's got so much panache, like look at what he's willing to say, he's so daring. And when I heard that, I was like, no, turn that off. Don't do that. And then it's a lot of the same thing with Kevin O'Leary's Dead Son, right? This gets brought up a lot because like Timmy, finds the weak point, I guess. Maybe that's kind of his MO, just being sort of evil in a way. But it's like he brings up the guy's dead son like a lot, and it just doesn't really work. And then he like nervous laughs, and you kind of see these cracks in his character, but I don't really know where it goes. And I really didn't. A lot of those are just these. It's like these hiccups, It's like you want to have it's the suspension of disbelief, yada yada. You've heard this before, but it's like as long as I'm watching a movie and I'm smiling and giggling and kicking my feet and going, oh, Timmy, you're so charming and handsome, it's fine. But as soon as there's like a little hiccup in the road, a little bump in the road, the kind of illusion is sort of shattered. And in these moments it was getting shattered, and then they would pick it back up and glue the pieces together and like make it work. But going from like smiling ear to ear when he throws the apple into the bowl across the way when he's on the phone with her, like I loved that. Calling her back and going, wait, don't hang up. Is that your husband? Like that kind of thing. He's spitting grade A game there, and it was just fun to watch because it felt like real and it felt charming in the third person. So it's got to be charming if you're Gwyneth Paltrow. Another example of a stinker is Mr. Wonderful's final monologue, and we'll get to this later in a section kind of about more closer to the theme of this, but I'll read it. And action. He goes, I was born in 1601. I'm a vampire. I've been around forever. I've met many Marty Mousers over the centuries. Some of them crossed me, some of them were straight. They were honest, and those are the ones that are still here. They weren't honest. You go out and you win that game, you're going to be here forever too, and you'll never be happy. You'll never be happy. And And what it is when I read that, even in my shitty, pacing that I just did and what have you, there is something there. There is something. I really like him approaching Timmy at that point in the thing. I like how angry he is. I like trying to get his final get back. I like the bones, the skeleton of that line, and then the meat that's actually on the skeleton feels really retarded. Like, opening with, I was born in 1601, stupid. Just say, like, he says, I'm a vampire. I get what's going on, right? It's not him, literally. It's this idea of, like, he has always existed. People like him have always existed. It's these people you have to bow down to. It's these people that are going to step on your dreams, and then you have to kind of step in a certain way to still reach your dreams while they're in your way. It's people that you kind of need to, kiss up to. It's people that kind of control the mechanisms of things, right? And it's these people that don't understand the magic of chasing the dream. Whatever you want to call that. If you want to say, capitalism, do your thing. But I like that. But Kevin O'Leary's delivery on that one was like super flat, and it didn't have like a sharpness to it that I feel like, saying you're a vampire sort of requires. So there are just these weird moments like that. And another one that really killed me was when he's like, do you want to fight like an ape? It was just really like stupid. Like that one struck me as really fucking stupid. Kind of made me mad. Because it's like, if he says, do you want to fight, you fucking ape? Even that is like a million times better to me for some reason. Something about that delivery like super pissed me off. And it just, I don't know. When I get to be this picky about something, there's got to be some sort of thing wrong under the surface. Like, I wouldn't care that much about like individual line deliveries if they weren't like these big moments. I feel like I digress. On the note of like these performances, I was really, really charmed by the Odessa girl, or however you say her name, and I was very charmed by Gwen. With Odessa, I really feel for her, and I hope Timmy gets it together and becomes a dad and like steps up. And with Gwen, I really like that she sees through Timmy, but like feels for him. I really like that she was willing to give him the necklace, and I really like that she like called his bullshit when he brought the prop necklace back. And I just like, there's like, I mean, obviously it's kind of weird to say this, but there's like a motherly thing going on there, even though they're banging. But it's like she's like kind of looking out for him, and I think that she sees the hunger that she used to once have or something, because she chased it with acting and what have you. I think she gets the pursuit of greatness thing that we'll talk about later, so that's cool. But and another singing praise, a little bit of praise, is the mood switches that Timmy kind of puts on are really, I think, on key. Like, they're very good. So the idea is just, he's a charmer until the charm is not getting him anywhere, and then he's going to be rude and evil, and we all know people like this. If you don't, God bless you. But there are evil people in your life, and like that's kind of how things goes. Like, they're charming until it doesn't work. They're charming until the charm is not getting them what they want, which means they're not charming. But once again, I digress. He does that really well in this, right? It's like when he can charm the fat guy about the ping pong balls, but then as soon as the fat guy is like about to kick him out, he really starts like laying into him, like berating him, and he does that switch really good most of the time. But there are times when the switch is like really weird and poorly written, and it feels like the switch is just turning from Marty Mauser into Timothy Chalamet. I don't know how to describe that in a better way, but when he's being smarmy with Gwen, and then he's like, yeah, well, I'm obviously old enough. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, old enough to fuck you. Like, that was really gay. Like, it's just whatever, dude. Like, I don't know. That just didn't work. Like, I feel like the kind of insinuation there, like the little nod and like his little shit-eating grin was enough. And she knew. And we had to hammer it home. And then it was poor. And it's like, the fuck thing is weird. He does, like, he gets mad at people and he tells them, like, open their mouth for his dick, like, 3 times in this movie. And I'm like, okay. The period piece is difficult because you can't fuck up. You can't drop the ball once or it shatters. A little bit of shattering there. So it's like some of these snaps just feel really like 2012 or just Timothy Chalamet, and they kind of mess up the period piece. So the charmer stinker balance here is a little off the knife's edge. And in times where the scene is supposed to lend to that, where it's like, obviously Timmy is this very volatile person, might be a narcissist, might be a little evil. We'll see. He has some redeeming qualities in moments, but it's like those things don't all the way click. And so there's something there where I kind of have to knock it a little bit. And then while we're talking about the dialogue, I think talking about the broader writing in this is kind of strange at points, and I feel like there's a lot of like really bad decisions in this screenplay, and obviously you never know what was like freestyled on the spot, kind of ad-libbed, but I have a list here of shit that I'm like, why? Like, what is this? The guy bomb defusing at the Nazi camp and licking the honey off his body story. What is that? It didn't have enough time to it, or it didn't feel like a cool anecdote. Like, I'm reminded of like the diner scene in Thief. Like, that just, you can't look away. This, I could look away. I was like, what in the fuck is this? Like, this doesn't go anywhere. This guy's bad at telling a story. It's like weird. Marty put him on the spot. It doesn't like really coalesce into anything else later. I don't see it. The whole dog storyline, like, the evil guy takes the dog that he finds for no reason and then is like lying about it. Like, why? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And he's just like this weird like non-character. Like, he's not a character. He doesn't exist. He doesn't have anything that he does or goes for him. He just grabs gun and yells at people because he stole a dog. I don't understand. What is that? The other evil guy who's rich isn't willing to pay the $2,000 for the dog, but is willing to stab a random person over it and get into a shootout over the dog. I don't understand. It's maybe like a pride thing. I don't get it. Doesn't work. We never really address what happened to the dog, because you look inside and see that the other dude got blamed and the dog's just stuck in there. And I'm just kind of like, well, that's like a bummer. Like, we came back to this dog so many times. I'd love like a tiny bit of closure. I don't know. Stuff with like Odessa faking the black eye thing. She got the black eye on. Like, he hit me and it's because she just wants to be with Timmy. And then he's like, fuck, you don't talk to me. Like, you see I'm being cool right now. Like, that part was good. Like, their interplay there and like how Timmy reacted to it was like very well acted, but it was like, where did that go? He just adds all these little things. It's the very Safdie brother thing. They just keep adding little things, like little problems, to complicate matters because the story can't resolve yet. I can't make an hour and 20-minute long movie. It has to be 2.5 hours, so I have to throw in 8 more wrenches into the already, we're spreading it thin already kind of problem, And that kind of moves on to the wider structure, and this kind of fills in with writing, but I just split it up because that was the initial thing that was always my problem with this, is this thing completely falls apart after the first ping pong tour of him going around the world with the Globetrotters, right? Just plot-wise, character development-wise, I don't get it, and it picks back up in the third act, but the second act is like 8 acts, and it's terrible. It's so bad. In my opinion, it's just like each individual thing is okay. They don't go together. And I'm kind of just like, yo, how much longer is in this movie for like a bit in the middle? I just don't get it. So, right, like the beginning is really fun. It's charming. I see it. I see the hunger. I love like the ping pong sets. I love like the kind of sports movie of it. I love his hunger. I love him charming Gwen. I love them figuring all that out. It's really, really good until he comes home from the thing. And then you're kind of like, here comes the Safdie problem, which is just, oh, here's his uncle. And then that's another thing with the writing. Is like with the uncle, did he owe him the $700? Right? So is his uncle just an asshole? That's not how the character was played. His uncle was played like very sympathetically. Like he was like, I don't want to keep taking care of your mother, but I'm going to give you this job. You're good at it. We got it. No more of this dream nonsense, which to me is just like a pragmatic old Jewish man, which is fine. But then it's like, did he owe him $700? That's a lot of money back then. Did he owe him the $700 and then he stole it? In which case, why was he doing all this power play shit with the cop? It's just because it's like in service of throwing a wrench in the plot. Like it doesn't make sense. It's just to muddy things, which is like, I feel like a lot of this other stuff we're going to go to, where it's just like, it's a bunch of cool set pieces that don't really work together. Like they're unnecessary, right? It's like disjointed. We have subplot A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I like subplots A, B, C. And then the other ones, we go away from A for 30 minutes to deal with D. And I don't care about D. And then by the time we come back to A, I'm like, there should have been like 1 or 2 more scenes like progressing this. Instead we come back to A and it's like, okay, word. Like Odessa, right? I think her and the mom and like Timmy's interplay thing is very good, but we come back 8 months later and she's already pregnant and there's like this whole hubbub because we were doing other shit. The dog thing is a great one. Whatever letter we want to give that, give it D for dog. It's so bad. It doesn't need to be in the movie at all. And it's like the same with the Tyler, the Creator stuff, because like that's all kind of his thing. Is it's like, I really like the scene by itself of them dancing outside the cab, like going slow when they won a bunch of money. But like, I just didn't really care for the hustling scene. Like, that was cool just for the costumes and the set design. Like, I felt like we were in the 50s for a second, a little splash of that, like the bowling alley and the girl and like the guy and like putting the money together. There was something fun about that in like a Spielberg movie kind of way, but it didn't belong in this movie, and it just distracted from him between Odessa and Gwyneth. And it's like, those are the things that I care about, and like him hunting down the ping pong money, right? And it's like, I know this is to get the ping pong money, but we're just really losing the plot here. Or we're like inventing ridiculous pieces of the plot. You know, we need to wait 30 minutes to see Gwen again. We have to wait 30 minutes to see the orange ping pong ball thing go nowhere. Like, that's another one that I don't really care about. And like, the fat guy doesn't really need to be in the movie, neither does his dad, because it would have been cool if they continued with that, and then like he was actually like a mogul, kind of like a figure, you know? It's his balls that they use at the things to play ping pong, like at the tournaments. But we don't do that. Instead, it's just another example of like him being a rat bastard, and it's like, I got it already. And then we go back there because we have to see what happened with the ping pong ball thing that Josh Safdie set up. I'm exhausted just recounting this to you. Like, no dog, no Tyler, no hustling thing. I don't think we need to see Gwyneth in the play. I don't think we need to go see Timmy visiting her for the play. It could have just been like visiting her at her apartment. It's another thing that kind of tacked on. We don't need him to eat her out in the park thing. Like, what is even that? If he's going to go to the play, let's watch her perform the play and see, you know, where the dream will take you, or where it won't. Like, we don't see that payoff. We just get a little more horny shit from Josh Safdie. A little more horny moment from Josh Safdie. And I'm tired, dude. Like, I don't care. That's not good. And it's stupid. And it's another wrench because the cops find him. And then she has to give him the necklace. It's like, we could cut six of these out, and we could still end up with the same problem at the end of he still needs to go. And we could get the great moment of Kevin O'Leary paddling him, right? We could get that. But we don't. So, you know, stop complaining about that, and we can talk about
the game.
And that's just the game. I think some of the ping pong parts of this are just really the best. This might be at its best, at its strongest, just as an inversion of the classic sports movie. Like, this young, hungry guy, the dream is eating at him, and there's so many things in his way, and it's like, how is he going to pull it off? And I think it's at its best at the beginning and end when we see him fail and then have to scramble for it a little bit, and then have to like compromise. You know, him going to the Harlem Globetrotters at the beginning is already the compromise. It's this weird thing of like, we act like he didn't lay it down, but it's like at the beginning he hated that, but then he did that to get the money, but then he comes back and then the money gets stolen, and then this whole middle part is like just dead in the air of like, we don't need to do that. Just do one time when he loses the money. He doesn't need to lose the money 10 times, Josh. I'm going back to being a hater. Reset. Ping pong parts are awesome. I love the set designs where big ping pong table in the middle and Mr. Darius just lit the fuck out of it, and it's like the light kind of falls off real softly up at the first edge of people, but you can kind of see the crowd behind them. Really tense. It does this great job of like making this feel absolutely larger than life. I'm locked in on it, and it's ping pong. I don't care about ping pong. Ping pong is a silly thing. It's something fun you just do with your friends, but these people, that's not to Timmy. It's not. So it's cool because they do a great job like making it tense. And you forget it's ping pong and it feels transcendent. It feels like any other pursuit. The fact that it's ping pong doesn't matter. It could be being the best chef. It could be being the best soccer player. It could be being the best football player. It could be being the best actress per se. It's just about that like pursuit of greatness, right? And that's what I have next is
the pursuit of greatness.
And like that's the theme I was talking about earlier, which is I feel like that's what this wrestles with. And it does a decent job at it. It's cool. Because somewhere in this movie is like a 6 out of 5 movie. Like, those are the ones I love, I have no problems with. I can see somewhere in this, if they shaved 45 minutes off, like there is this beautiful, transcendent, outstanding movie that seems like everybody else saw that I didn't see. Somewhere in this fat person suit is like a rip sculpted David made out of marble sculpture. And if Josh would have gotten the editing room and really chipped away at it, we could have got there, but he didn't, so we don't. I digress. So it's kind of, I just wonder, because I get a little lost with some of this digressing, some of these wrenches in the plans, some of this other stuff. I feel like we kind of lose this thematic focus of, what does the movie end up saying about the weight of the dream? I'm not sure. I was having trouble decoding this as I watched it for the second time, and I was taking some notes, and I was collecting my notes before doing this in my little PowerPoint style. I'm wondering, I can't quite figure it out, so I'm just going to word salad here, and we'll figure it out as we go. So, is the final thing like a vindication of bowing to no one, right? Timmy's like, fuck you to Mr. Wonderful, and then it's like, we get this big moment, right? He wins, right? And although it's an exhibition match and it doesn't count, like, he won. So it's like, it's just strange that it's played differently in that, right? When he goes home, I understand. I understand what's going on there. There's a little bit more of a clear line to be drawn. But I wonder where that kind of comes from. Because for the rest of this, every time he doesn't bow to someone, it causes a billion problems, and he's evil a little bit, and you kind of hate him, and you kind of don't get it. And you're kind of like, why is this? What is this? What are we doing? With that one, it makes sense. I wouldn't want to do what Mr. Wonderful said either. I'm not kissing the damn pig. I'm not losing on purpose. Hell no, fuck you and fuck your face. But I don't understand, It's like, is it a greatness within? He doesn't need the outside validation anymore for the greatness, but he still needs to win the game, which is outside validation. I struggle to find the thread here, because for most of the movie, he's an asshole. It ruins all his relationships, but then he's an asshole to Mr. Wonderful, and it's like the right thing. Then he stops being an asshole to Odessa, right? Is he as satisfied at the end? It seems like he is. It was a good cry from Timmy. Always throw credit for a good cry. Great cry. Was winning without the bigger spectacle enough, Is fatherhood enough? Because it kind of was this thing to me where it was like he was finally taking control of something he created, taking responsibility for his creation. He didn't take responsibility for the creation of the ping pong balls. That's the most literal example. But he doesn't take responsibility for the causing of problem A, B, C, and D and E, because he's just trying to reach this dream, and he doesn't care who he hurts in the way. Here we have the ego death moment or whatever. He's laying himself down, and it's it's cool. I don't mind that. I don't mind the payoff at the end being the exhibition match, because I'm in Timmy's brain, and I'm thinking, I still want him to beat this Japanese dude real bad style. I need it as much as he needs it, and I'm stressed a little bit, and I'm still on the edge of my seat. So it's cool. It's a cool way to invert the sports drama thing. I thought that was kind of fun, right? But it kind of comes back to this Kevin O'Leary quote that I thought he delivered kind of poorly, and they wrote a little bit poorly, but it was okay. It's he's a vampire, and he says, if you go out and win that game, you're going to be here forever too, and you'll never be happy. You will never be happy, right? So I guess in my mind, that is, you never get to the top of the mountain of greatness, right? If you're pursuing greatness, it's this never-ending cycle of, I have to continue to be great. Someone else is going to beat me. I have to continue to play ball. So it almost becomes this, he's challenging him to quit, and he doesn't quit. But then when he goes home to be a father, it kind of seemed like he quit. So I just wonder which one of those threads, I guess, makes more sense. And I don't know, maybe they can coexist. I have a little bit of a hard time with it, but it's, there's something to that we can I can talk about the threads that I see with this thematic thing all through it, and I don't exactly know what it means, but it's something to talk about. The end and the beginning and the set design and stuff are where this manages to get a 3.5 out of 5 for me. 3.5 out of 5. It's not quite there, and there's too much fat on it, way too much fat on it. But it brings me to this this is what brought me back to Timmy Ping Pong. This is why I wanted to go watch it again, and I have dubbed this
the Timmy Ping Pong Problem.
And I mean, I'll just put A24 in parentheses, because this is it's symptomatic of their bullshit too. Really what it is it's this strange case that we're seeing now, and it's kind of cool. It's built them this cult following, and it's made them a lot of money. So I get it. But we know what direction an A24 movie is going in before we see them, before we know anything about them, before we know anything but looking at the poster and hearing the title, because we know who distributed it. It's this weird thing where they're in a total bag. I'm sure there's been some old horror distribution companies where it's going to be a horror movie, whatever. That's not what I mean. It's just, regardless of what genre they dip into, it's going to be weird. It's going to try and be transgressive. It's going to get this out the third. We'll get into it in a moment. But it's a question of taste making for sure, right? So they're creating the A24 genre, which is cool. I could clap that up. And a lot of their movies are I can't even hate, right? A lot of them are just really, really good. but they've kind of taste-maked themselves into a very small corner. These are like strings I see with a lot of other stuff. And when you like the A24 movie, these aren't problems. But when I dislike the A24 movie, I think it's bad, or show, which I'll talk about in just a moment, these are the problem. So it's just very strange. I don't know. But we watched Beef, my girlfriend and I, the first season. And it's, the J. Cole effect, where it has so many 5 stars that I'm like, wow, this is going to be life-changing. Not life-changing at all. It was like upper mid, 3 stars at best. Because what it was I got the idea. It's kind of maybe a safety problem if we're getting down to the more particular, where it's like, I got the idea. Like, I got the idea that these people will never be happy. I got the idea of the endless search. I got the idea of them needing to, like, externalize their awfulness, and it causes problems for everybody else. And I got the fun little interplay of, like, who's who thing, and, like, the weird, like, oh, it's her, oh, he's catfishing thing. It's just this problem of it being too long. There's always 5 extra plot lines that kind of need to intertwine. And then the big 3 are, we got to have a lot of sex, and it's got to be weird. And we have to have capitalism evil. And then we have to have, like, synths and, like, ridiculously saturated colors and cinematography. And it's okay for what it is, because they do, like, half art house and then half what they've ended up doing now. But it's, you saw the trailers for the drama, and you knew that it was going to be something freaked out. And, like, I liked that movie probably as much as I like Timmy Ping Pong, because it just does the same thing. Like, it's just become, it's almost like a genre in and of itself. It's not like that was a drama and this is a sports drama and Midsummer is a horror. They're all just A24 movies. And, like, that's the A24 problem, is becoming a genre in and of yourself. And it's like the tropes of the genre are just, like, to me, kind of played out. Like, I don't want this shit. To talk more about Beef, episode 5 or whatever, when him and his cousin, like, punch that dude in the head when they expose it at the conference when they go to Vegas. There was already, like, 6 safety things going on of, oh no, how could these characters do something worse? How could it be more stressful? And how could these storylines converge into one stressful fiasco, right? And in a word, that's, like, that could be good writing. But when you just are doing the same exact thing that everyone else with A24 movies has done, it's just, like, it's a little tired. And then once that happens, they get arrested, you could roll credits. I really liked that episode, and I thought it was done. And then I'm like, yo, there's 5 more episodes. We're halfway done. What the fuck else are they going to pull? And, the home invasion episode is really, really good, just by itself, right? If that was just an episode by itself, it's really fun. We've got some good set pieces, and there's a few tender moments. But then the episode after that is awful. It's just like they don't know when to end anything, and they don't know when to stop adding new stuff to the storyline. And it's got to have the weird sex thing. We could have done without, like, so much stuff in Beef. And, like, the biggest thing I could have done without is, like, the weird Amy, whatever her name is, sex flashbacks when she's, like, a kid. We didn't need to see her parents fighting. When she goes to visit her parents, I immediately got the sense of what was going on. You don't need to give me a flashback. Like, you don't. I don't need that. And I don't need to see her having anonymous sex with older men so that we know she's a sexual deviant. I got that because she's doing weird sexual deviant shit. It doesn't really matter that she used to do it. Like, we're just doing too much here. And I'm getting a little bit tired of the A24 thing. It's almost become this Marvel movie epidemic thing where it's like, I like a lot of the Marvel movies, like, quite a bit. We went and saw Endgame. It feels like one of those larger-than-life moments. You watch it with a bunch of friends. It feels crazy. All these characters that you've been seeing for, like, a decade all kind of come together. Everything converges. It's very tasteful. And then we have 18 more fucking movies that no one cares about. And it's just, I wonder if A24 is going to fall off a cliff. I wonder. Because, to me, this is kind of like almost the beginning of the end, where it's like, how much longer could this go on for? I might do a video on Backrooms too, but it's like that kind of suffered from the same thing, where it's almost like they don't even care what's in the movie anymore, as long as it's, like, slightly transgressive and weird and against the grain and has some pull on the internet. And I feel like that's, like, not what you want. I feel like the A24 stamp used to be, like, a real big sign of quality. I feel like it used to be, like, a real big sign of, like, you're going to see something slightly weird and it's going to be kind of art house and it's going to be like, ooh, and, like, like, Ex Machina and like some of the early stuff where it's like fun, weird little things, and there's not too much going on, and they're just kind of pushing boundaries in a fun little way. Instead, we wound up here, and I don't know. It's the Timmy Ping Pong problem. Let's add 7 more pieces of subplots. Let's solve only 3 of them, and let's just pile on stress and weird sexual shit. And let's talk about capitalism, and let's make fun of witch people a little bit, and then bang, tie a bow on it and call it a day. And I don't know. I wish it wasn't. I hope that they kind of like dig themselves out of this hole somehow. Like do something weird, finance a blockbuster. I'm tired of horror. Don't do any more horror. Just do a nice drama, and not like the drama. Just do a nice character piece. Give somebody $1 million and let them make an Annie Hall. Something, dude. Like I need this trend to kind of break. Because otherwise we're just going to keep getting movies like this where the DNA here, the makeup, everything should give you a 6 out of 5, should be this transcendent, life-changing thing, and instead it's just bogged down by a bunch of bullshit. And it's weird because I know A24, and not even A24, the distribution, but like the production companies, a lot of these are giving them plenty of leeway. We're almost back to the 70s where the director kind of gets to do what they want to do, and you go see the new Safdie movie. It's about the actors a little bit, but you go see the new Safdie movie. I'm going to go see the new Inaritu movie. You go see the new PTA movie. We're chasing these like creatives because they're almost given like auteur level control over things. So I don't know. Maybe they just need to have someone else on the editing room floor. But I'm tired, and my laptop's about to die, and my charger blew up on my hand. So I got to wrap it up. But Timmy Ping Pong, man, 3.5 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. And I hope they do something better because Uncut Gems is one of them ones. See you next time.